When we're trying to shed body fat, oftentimes people get just so confused as to what program they should be running to help them get the results that they want. The main problem isn't necessarily what the program is, because a lot of people want to do their own thing, which is perfectly fine, and I completely support that. The problem is the amount of exercises people want to do just can be a little bit crazy at times. If you're going in the gym and your goal is fat loss, like I previously discussed, your resistance training isn't meant to increase your calorie expenditure. So you don't need to be having and bombarding yourself with like 20 exercises. You can easily get away and have amazing fat loss results on like 6 exercises. But of course there are many variables and there are many different things that you can look at when trying to kind of figure out what type of exercises you want, how many of them that you want to have in each session. So I want to dive into that in this video, give you a more clear method to look at a potential program that you want to maybe incorporate, or if you want to create your own program, and look at what exercises or how many exercises you should be adding to each and every session. Because when we're training, we don't want to be studying how many types of exercises we want to be doing each session. We want to be actually in the gym doing our workouts so that we're burning calories and getting closer and closer to those fat loss results. So like I discussed in the intro, you can easily get really good fat loss results with 6 exercises. And honestly, you could probably even limit this even more to maybe 3 exercises. But if I'm gonna make the most blanket statement ever, 6 is kind of a good number, 5 to 6, let's say. So that gives you the ability to add or subtract based on what you need. But depending on if you're doing a full body or upper body, lower body split, which is kind of what I do. I don't do bodybuilding splits basically ever, it's just not my style. You will want to have different variables based on what type of program you're doing. If you're doing full body, you're gonna wanna obviously cover certain bases. You're gonna wanna have at least a lower body exercise and then an upper body push and an upper body pull. And then, you might have 1 or 2 of a certain one on a specific day, and then have, 1 or 2 of a different one on a different day, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're doing an upper lower split, you can get away with having kind of a few more exercises and kind of using a program or template that's going to be based off of what you like to do and what your weaknesses are and what you need to work on. If you're more strength focused and you want to be practicing a lot of reps and having a lot of sets on, say, your squats, your bench, your deadlifts, your overhead press, then sure, you might have 10 sets on those exercises and then have 3 to 5 sets on your other exercises, which is perfectly fine. But if you're doing a lot more volume on those main exercises, that basically means that you can reduce your volume on other exercises. So if you're gonna be doing, like 6 sets of 4 working sets on your squats, then maybe you would go from a total of 5 exercises to a total of 4 exercises. There's no real black and white way of answering this question. You kind of just have to look at how much time you have, how much recovery that you are able to recover from, and kind of make those decisions on your own. So what I wanted you to do is kind of think about what you're doing. If you're going into your training and you're feeling like shit after every training session and you're just tired and run down, well then probably you need to reduce that volume, and the easy way of doing that is just by reducing the exercises you're doing. So when you're looking at your exercises, when you're trying to cross things out, you can look at the isolation exercises kind of being the first ones that need to get axed. And then after that, look at the other exercises, rank them for what's most important to you, or what do you think you're gonna get the best results from, and the ones that are lowest on that ranking, you can get rid of those. So the next big variable that I wanna discuss is specifically conditioning work. So if you wanna do your strength work first, because that's your focus is strength and maintaining your muscle mass, you should be doing that first and then doing any conditioning you do afterwards. So when it comes to conditioning, that's where you're kind of allowed to start adding a lot of exercise. If you want to do like circuit type training where you have, maybe 5+ exercises or complexes or things like that, then you can start jacking up the amount of exercises you're doing, and the rule that I said of kind of that 5 to 6 doesn't necessarily apply to that. But that rule of 5 to 6 does apply to your strength portion. If you want to use the conditioning portion, there are so many different types of things you can do. So just realize, if I say you can only do 5 exercises, you're like, oh, okay, well, I want to do conditioning, so I can only do 4 exercises, and then I have to do 1 exercise for all my conditioning? No. Think of it as a separate entity. But like I always say, you can lose weight and you don't necessarily have to do any conditioning or cardio work in order to achieve that result if your diet is on point. So if you do want to add that conditioning work on top of your strength work, I still recommend, have your kind of base level of 5 to 6 strength exercises that you're going to use. Maybe you can decrease that a little more, maybe keep it into the 4 to 5 range, and then add your conditioning as you will. I mean, there's so many different types of things to do. It's kind of hard to, like I said, be like black and white about this. There's a huge gray range, but just understand, the more conditioning you do, maybe you might have to dial back your strength work, or you might have to dial back specifically because you want to concentrate even more and be even more focused on a couple of your main lifts. So to conclude, we talked a little bit about if your training program is simply too intense and you're not able to recover from it, or you're just feeling run down. We covered how you can remove isolation exercises. We talked about how you can rank exercises in terms of effectiveness and then remove the ones that aren't as effective for your results. And then we talked about how we can add conditioning work if you want to do it, how you can reduce the amount of exercise you're doing in the strength portion, or you can keep it the same and just kind of play it by ear. See how hard your program is for you. See how much of an impact it has on your ability to recover. If it's not changing anything to do with your recovery, then keep doing what you're doing. Keep burning calories, keep gaining strength, trying to keep as much muscle as you can, and keep getting those results. If you know anyone who's confused about how many exercises they need to be having in their fat loss program, please feel free to share this video with them. I'm just trying to help out as many people as I can. If you like this video, please hit the like button. I really appreciate that. If you enjoy these types of videos, I got a lot more coming your way. Just hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon. Peace.